Oh, aren't you the cutest little Max you've ever seen? Oh, he's a cute little Anyway, it's Fosi. Hello, I'm CWDfsbv.png of Inner Fetish and Z Reviews and Z Cooks and Z Unboxing, and I don't know, I run Hi-Fi Guides, the forums, and the site, but we'll just think about the forums. And thank you to my supporters on Patreon and Subscribestar, because if they weren't here, then I wouldn't be here, and there wouldn't be coffee stains and hair. Anyway. All right. Can I yell at Fosi for their naming? So, this exists. In fact, I don't even know if I did a full review of it. I sort of just mentioned it in one of the other reviews because it came out at the same time as the Fosi V3. And it's the BT20a Pro. And it was essentially just one of their little Class D amplifiers for $99 that had bass and treble knobs and a Bluetooth. And that was more than the other one had, but it was also still 300 watts, yet it was cheaper, so it didn't make any sense, and then no one really liked the BT20a. And so what does Fosi do? They go, well, this little cheap $100 one, we need to make something new. Let's charge $250 for it. We'll call it the BT20a Max instead of the Pro, and we'll nearly triple the price. So just call it something else. BT40. It's like the BT20a. It's just, this is a long-standing name. This is like Mustang. It's not. Who gives a shit? It's Fosi. Just name it anything you want. But why does it got to be? Now when I look up the Fosi BT20a, I get the Pro and the Max, which are both very big words to put at the end of a thing, and it's a completely different fucking thing. Anyway, here it is. And if the microphones are sensitive enough and probably reversed, you can hear the fan inside. Listen. There is a silent fan, which is relatively silent. If I didn't read about it, I may have just ignored the fact that there's like a slight hum coming out of the unit. It's on the desk here just to give a look around. We're going to plug it in and make speakers go. It's just easier if I'm not somewhere else. I like being here. Here is where I'm happiest. So, it's a bigger, heavier unit than I think Fosi's ever put out in an amplifier before. It's got the similar case to the ZP3, but the weight on this is like 50% higher than any of their other amplifiers. And I'm not sure what's doing that, if that's all heatsink, if they've crammed more in here. I know there's a fan. If you put a fan in something, there tends to be a reason for it. And so I don't know 100% what that reason is yet. So there's our design. You've got the orange vents on the black holes, and it says Max in kind of an awesome way on top. I don't know. It's more like Cinemax or I don't know. Max. It just says Max. More on this side. Trying to judge if the orange is the same. It's the same. The bottom is boring. The front is, I don't keep making this noise. Volume knob is a actual analog like stop knob, not a digital knob. It's a stop knob. We've got treble and bass with detent in the middle, just like the original BT20a Pro. You got an infrared receiver because you do get a remote control. That was another thing that this one added, which has been lacking on most of the Fosi stuff. This is a big deal. It was on their ZD3, their ZP3, their P4, and their BT20a Max. Oh, I know that because it's the same remote, and you literally pick what unit you're using. In fact, I knew this was a thing when I reviewed the ZP3 preamp, because it was literally written on here like that was like a secret. Like, oh, just don't look at that one. Don't look at it. Don't look. Oh, there it is. Anyway, so you got a remote with power, mute, volume up, volume down, next track, last track, play, pause, because Bluetooth, a mode button, a reset button, a light button, which I don't think affect this, and then you pick which unit you're using. And then you got a on/mode button here, where RCA1, RCA2, Bluetooth blinks, it get connected to my phone. Big loud relays going ka-clink, ka-clink. Listen to them. That is some high-end mechanical fuckery going on. And by high-end, I mean it kind of sounds like a 1970s elevator. Just going ding. Like there's an actual ping to that sound and not just a click, 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 click. Not very precise in German, doing whatever it's doing in there. It feels like a guy is in there hitting with a stick. Just like ding, ding. That's the front of the unit. it goes bing, tick, 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 when it shuts off. It's very cool. Looking at the back of the unit, it's a little bit more interesting. You get 2 RCA inputs. You only get RCA inputs on this. We do get a subwoofer out, and you do get a high-pass filter that's on or off a bowl, which is set at 80 hertz, which I wish it was changeable, but I'm sure that... But that means this does a very specifically amazing thing, which is when you have speakers, and I'm going to hook them up in a bit, but you don't... You know the speakers can't do low end, right? Like 50 hertz, 40 hertz, 20 hertz, subwoofer levels. This, when you flip the high-pass filter to 80, this will only send 80 hertz and above to the speakers and give everything else to the sub. I'm not sure how this affects the sub out, if it's going to take 80, or if you hit it off, it takes everything. We'll do some more analysis. I was just kind of half-ass playing with it before. And then you get a tone control, which is tone or bypass, which is for the front. These are technically the tone controls. This is a cutoff, a high-pass filter. So the sub and that are different than these, yet I'm guaranteeing that one will affect the other once we get it all fucking going. 5-way binding posts. This cannot be mono-blockable. Mono-blockable, Your Honor. That's the word he said. Your little Bluetooth antenna and your 12-volt trigger, which is becoming a thing, but honestly, in the comments, please... Are you currently using a 12-volt trigger? You can tell me if you've used one in the past. I think I've used one in the past, but that was like a decade ago, more. And it was like, and then, no, wait, wrong. I am using them right now in my home theater thing over there where it turns on the other amplifier. So I am, technically, yes. But nothing on my review desks. Nothing 2-channel. It's all big surround sound multi-amplifier things. So let's go plug in a set of speakers. I'm thinking Oasis 140. Is that what you're thinking? We're leaving the desk, so enjoy the wallpaper. Available in the wallpaper horde. There'll actually probably be this is another one of those reviews where you get 2 wallpapers, you lucky bastards. Anyway, enjoy that. Let's take the BT20a Max, which you can't... I love how the picture of the box does not have the word Max carved out at the top, yet there it is. It's like, another thing I was going to say, I don't like this shiny bit in the front. It adds nothing... Like, it's not like there's a display in it, or like when you adjust the volume with the remote. Wait a second. I just put batteries in the remote, by the way. It turns the knob. I get to use the thing. Oh, God, my thing is missing. Where's my thing? Everyone, I swear, this has never happened to me before. All right, we'll have to makeshift a thing. For those of you who don't know, I used to have a chopstick here. And now it's gone. I've lost my chopstick. Because it's better to visualize this. So, in the best way to actually control a volume, we can remote control the pot. It's actually pretty quiet. Ooh. It's quiet and smooth and the right speed. That $4,000, $5,000 Solaris also has a remote control for the volume, where it turns the knob. It's just putting a little motor behind it and controlling it. And what that does is it allows, instead of having a digital volume knob, because digital volumes can get a little, where they're chopping bits up instead of actually lowering voltages, this is just like a normal analog knob, just remote controlled, that is honestly a higher end feature than I was really expecting from this thing. Because, I mean, I've done Fosi stuff before, and they keep getting better. They do keep getting better, but this is now officially like weighty, like it's got balls. Anyway, stop her, take the desk mat, let's go hook up some speakers and assess the balls. It is to my utter shock and amazement, by the way, welcome to the speaker arena, that the tone control for bass does not affect the subwoofer. Instead of integrating this little Cali sub down here, because I have this DBX Go Rec here, which accepts a bunch of inputs, and I use it for my subwoofer control anyway, the HSU, 15 inches, gently assisting. Obviously, this volume controls that. This is another volume I have set for the sub. You can see I'm using this beautiful Italian-made RI cable. To do the subwoofer things. Or I probably should plug these back in so we don't blow anything up. Hold on. Just unblow up. Unblow up. I had to test. The only way to test was the unplugged speakers. So, we're here. There's no... You know what the biggest issue with this thing is? And what a fucking overlook on the part of Fosi. Because the Bluetooth is great. You buy this, you put some speakers up. Here are these Swan Oasis 140s. They're some of the best speakers you can buy, period. Price means fucking nothing. In fact, in a near-field situation, I'd take those over these. These are specifically $2,000 to be stupid near-field monoblock DAC assessment things. Those are more tonality correct speakers. But we're still playing music. Well, I think we are. I lost a channel. Did I blow it up? Let's unplug it and plug it back in. See if I blew something up. Hopefully I didn't blow it up. If I did, I'd have to... It'd be the worst. Oh, probably should turn it back on. Which, yeah, I sat here and I'm like, on. Why wouldn't it turn on? Because I didn't... It's back on. I must have hit one of these when I was transferring this over to this section. And what a nightmare it was just to figure out, like, oh, power doesn't work because I got to hit BT20a max first and then power to powered. Okay, so what did we just do? Pause music? No, music's still playing. RCA 1. There's no mute indicator. We're kind of going over this together. I used it. I made sure it worked. I put it back on the shelf. Now it's time to sit down and like it. So if this is one of those reviews that I intimately know it, which means I'm getting shocked by the broken things like no mute indicator. Just anything. You've got an LED. If you hit mute, the LED should blink like the Bluetooth one does. Oh, so the thing that they overlooked with this, there's no digital inputs except for the DAC. This is definitely a digital input, all right? Bluetooth is a digital signal. It comes in, it gets converted from digital to analog somewhere internally inside of this, and then it plays music. How the quality of that DAC, kind of irrelevant. However, since this has a remote and a subwoofer output, and the high-pass filter, by the way, when you switch it, doesn't change what the sub gets. It just changes what the speaker gets. Speakers are currently getting full range. So when I unmute it, you know, that's them getting full tilt. And now, and it does stop the music and dim and come back up. So you know it's actually doing the work. Now, it takes all that 80 hertz and out away from these, and it shoves it to the $1,200 15-inch subwoofer in the corner. And I can tell these particular speakers, probably one of the better reasons to do that. I just wouldn't do it with a subwoofer on the other side of a curtain. So we have no mute indicator. You have to, that annoying thing that it does all 4 fucking remotes. Just don't. The tone controls do not affect the sub. So if you're tuning in, what are we listening to? Anyway, this is what? White Zombie? If you're listening to White Zombie, and you're like adjusting bass and treble, that's only here, which is excellent news. Luckily for us, we do not need to adjust tone controls. These are Swan Oasis. They're the best. Don't fucking touch them. We do want to cut them off, however, so that they're not feeding. I don't want this speaker to attempt to do like 12 hertz. If White Zombie stops playing and, you know, the Blade Runner 2049 soundtrack comes on, which that's Remo Williams. That is a different, maybe better movie. I don't know. Have you ever seen The Adventures of Remo Williams? You haven't. You know how I know that? Because no one has. But you should. Janeway from Star Trek is in it.
Biggest boss, and I've been a trillist.
As far as amplifier, we're looping back around. I keep avoiding the subject. Remember that thing I keep saying that, like, oh, you know what they forgot to add? Since there's Bluetooth, since there is a digital input, this needs a digital input. Because I sat here and I'm ready to go plug in a fiber optic cable or maybe a coaxial digital, like as if you're going to use it for a TV. This is screaming, put me in your living room. It almost even has a readable volume control. If that dimple was a little bit more visible, I would say 100%. If it was lit, it would be even more. But imagine this in a living room. The problem is, it only takes RCA inputs, which I don't have any RI cables long enough. I have to talk to Princess Pasta at princesspasta.audio. Is that what it is? It's princesspasta.audio to get some RI cables, so it's going to be more Italian. But I have to feed this an analog signal. And you know what I have here? A topping D900, which is only balanced, or the fucking FIO R2R tube DAC warmer, which is what I was using in the listening testing for the end of that review. If you haven't seen that. So I'm using the RCA outputs of this into that. And I can't verify 100% that it's why it sounds so good, but holy fuck. Let's put the bass up a little more. Just a little bit more. Oh, yeah. Oh, I could hear the delay in the woofer going, whoa, and it washes over here. So, positives. This thing is fucking loud. I'm not even at noon. It's going to blow these up, and they're inefficient speakers. So, absolutely delivering on every watt it promises. Whether that maximum wattage will be perfectly clean and clear, probably not. It'll probably have some THD. But considering that right over there, you see those three ZD3s and ZP3s? What are your numbers? ZA3s? Anyway, those 3 Fosi amplifiers, those control the front channels of my home theater in this particular space. I got the Emotiva with another 7 doing the Atmos ceiling and the sides and the backs. It's sides and rears, or if you only have 5.1, your back channels. But I've got it doing up there and back there and over there, but the 3 fronts have been Fosi amplifiers for a hot minute. The only thing I don't know if this will do, and I feel like there's so much shit crammed in here already that it may not, and I didn't notice it when I was reading over the specs, because I try to know things, but not like know things. Yeah, I don't see anything in here that says you can swap op amps, which has kind of been Fosi's thing, but I am willing to sacrifice that thing. The op amp is a little tiny chip you put in there. It's like the final operational app. It tells the amplifier bits how to work. So if you change an op amp, it can be slightly different, be slightly warmer. Look at Sparko stuff. I have that weird Chinese one that I got from Amazon. There's usefulness in swapping op amps. All 3 of those amplifiers have their op amps swapped to make the tonality a little bit softer so that my front 3 clip speakers don't fucking kill me. This doesn't have that. This certainly has the power. It's not a monoblock. It's very clear. In fact, some of the absolute warmness that the warmer puts out, if you haven't seen my review of the FIO R2R tube DAC warmer, it's a DAC that's tube, but R2R, it's everything. A little bit of treble boost, little treble boostier. I know I said don't do it, but if we're trying to counteract a little bit of the warmth and the smoothing that's doing, you bump the treble up a little bit here. I'll next track this. What's this? What are we listening to? What are we copyright striking? League of Legends. Oh, it's got to be Arcane. It's one of the Arcane tracks. They're all so good. I wish Season 2 took its time, where there was a Season 3 and they could have spread it out. Because Season 1 is perfect television. 10 out of 10. I don't say that about nothing. Season 2 was 17 episodes of a show in 9. And why is there time travel? Oh, my lord. Is it Lord? Because it would be great if it was Lord. I went, oh, my lord. I think that's why she chose that name. I think someone went, oh, my lord. And they're like, that's it. My name is Lord. I have only a handful of delicate complaints. For performance from a Fosi amplifier, this is stellar. The fact that it has an active cooling solution, aka fan inside of it, which probably had to be added later, which is why the Max isn't on the box. Because you're like, fuck, we got to put a fan in it. Fuck, we need vents. Excellent solution. That's an excellent solution. I don't see anywhere on the packaging, though, that told me not to cover that, so probably don't cover that. The remote control, despite the annoyance of like, oops, watch that. Did I hit P4? Want to unmute it? Oh, nothing happens. Is her batteries dead? Let's check out that's annoying how it hooks onto it. Oh my God, Amazon Basics. They make actually really good batteries. I think they're rebranded from whatever. But you gotta, I kind of like playing with it. This way you know it's going to unmute when I paused. You know what? You know what else you could do? I don't have it. I could open the software because I haven't promoted this in a hot minute. These pause, next track, last track buttons, you could use a FLIRC, FLIRC, link to the description, which is an infrared receiver, which I have one on the, see that thing sticking up above her head? You know her from Mushoku Tensei. Her, fucking his wife, one of his wives. This is multiple polygamy. It's polygamy. Anyway, that will receive signals from a remote, any remote, and you can tell it to next track, last track, play, pause, do a console command, whatever you want with the software. And I could just program it to be next track, last track, play, pause. And so long as you're not on the Bluetooth input, which I'm not, then those would just control foobar. And that would make that just even more all-in-one. The biggest lack, and I understand why we're already at $250. Even if they added a shitty DAC and it raised the price of this $50 to $300, that is a whole other price bracket. The biggest problem is they're going to miss out on that like living room market. Your desk, absolutely. Hell, fucking my desk. I might bring it up there. I'm rearranging my office right now. I want to go different. I really want. I'm going minimalist, and I'm like, how do I go minimalist? What's the way to go minimalist? And it would be something like this on a desk hooked up to speakers. Then I got to hook it up via RCA to a DAC. So now it's adding an extra piece of hardware. It doesn't have to be that big or that big, but it does have to be there. You got to get the signal from somewhere. And if you're using a computer or a laptop or a phone, unless you have a 3.5 on the top of your phone, you're going to be gumming out digital. So unless you're using a fucking turntable into this and you're set, you're good to go. A game console into this, you probably get a set of white and red RCAs to plug into it. I feel like if they had a digital input, it would have been just like, it would have been that. It would have been almost too good. It would have been everything you need out of an amplifier, and Fosi can just quit the game. But this is enough new features and enough new power and new everything else that didn't need to be the BT20a. It could have been the BT40a or the BT50a or anything else. Call it the Max. Call it the Fosi Max. And then next year is the Max 2027. Oh my fucking God. Where's life going? I like that when you mute it, the volume control does not unmute it. That is in the catalog of Zeos's like good features. That isn't just, oh, that's a decent feature. That is a rare as fuck and nearly impossible to find feature. Special feature. But it happens all the time. Like I mute whatever I'm watching. Girl und Panzer is on, and all of a sudden the tanks are exploding. And by the way, that show. You mute it at that volume where it's like, oh, and you go to get a snack and you come back and you're like, you know what? I want to lower it before I unmute it. And it's on 95% of equipment. As soon as you hit a volume up or down, she unmutes. And it's like, oh, I fucking hate you because it's really loud. Like this. I could adjust the volume separately and then it doesn't actually affect it. That's it's a feature that should be fucking standard. I should be complaining when that doesn't exist, and that should be the rarity. But it happens all the time. At least volume down shouldn't unmute. How's that? On a digital one with a digital volume control, obviously this is analog, so it's easier to implement that. It's easier to not have it fuck up because you're using analog. But even when it's a digital remote, having like it muted and hitting volume up, maybe I could see that unmuting it, but hitting volume down should let you lower the volume without unmuting it. then you need to unmute it, then it comes back up. That's just it's a Zeos complaint. I like this thing. It should technically sell better than the Fosi's other amplifiers. It's got more going for it. They've always been pure analog input. My complaint with this one, having only RCA inputs, is not that it's not a balanced input. I don't care. It's that the people who are going to be integrating this are probably starting off very small and very cheap. And this doesn't do everything. I'm kind of glad it doesn't have a headphone out. That would just be the power amps, which are Class D, pushed into a bunch of resistors and put into a headphone. They never sound good. I got a couple of vintage Japanese old receivers that did actually sound good. Both they're 30 years old and Japanese. And Fosi is not that. So it's had so much more potential to expand out with a DAC and headphone. It could have been all in one and done. I'm okay with what they did, sort of keeping it like, all right, this is everything you should need for speakers with remote control. Done. Speakers with remote control. Bluetooth is there. If you're looking for a way to get like your old speakers you have in the garage on Bluetooth, you could technically buy a Bluetooth receiver from FIO, or I guess MPOW isn't sold really anymore. And then you can get an old amplifier, and then you could see if the amplifier has a remote, but then you want to integrate a sub, and that doesn't cut off the frequencies to the speakers. So the fact that this does the speaker frequency cutoffs of 80 hertz or pass through, the fact that it has 12-volt trigger, the fact that it does have Bluetooth at all, the fact that it has a fucking remote that does the actual analog knob turning, these are all excellent features. It's still $250. It's not cheap. What am I listening to? I don't recognize you. Oh, I may not actually know what this is. I'm going to double click the avatar. Oh my God, Bochi the Rock. I don't like the music in Bochi the Rock. Loved Bochi the Rock. Absolutely deserved to be Anime of the Year. It was animated wildly. I don't care what Joey says. The animation alone, the characters are fine. The music is whatever. The animation styles and changes and how much fun that shit was 100% worth it. And now we have Free Ren back, so go Free Ren. But in reverse is that one. I feel like this is getting me a copyright strike already. That's too long. It's copyright. It's like, is that absolutely Weezer? Oh, fuck, it's Weezer. Everybody knows Weezer. The bots definitely know Weezer. Yeah, I hear no noise, like, that far from the speaker. The sub-integration through this beautiful Italian RI cable is fine. It doesn't, I don't think it, hold on, we're going to change tracks. I'm going to unplug the subwoofer plug while it's playing. It shouldn't do anything since you have the switch that does the 80 hertz. On some of them with sub-outs, when you plug it in, it detects and then changes. Like the Vanitus do that, but that's a separate $500 self-powered. No, but I could tell you what, since I had this cut off at 80 hertz, I heard the sub go away. It went from like, this is kind of fine. I wonder if that's dead. Okay, plug it back in. Dragon Ball Z is now playing. Yeah, that is crazy loud. So yeah, this has been a pretty chill review. I didn't have coffee today. I had the candy out on the table. If you didn't notice, the Awake chocolate was sitting there in case I needed it. But you know what? This is a competent review. Well, no, the review is a Zeos review, which could be anything. But this is a competent product. Fosi hasn't made too many stinkers. There's been a couple companies where you have to like really seriously analyze like what the fuck's going on. But other than the mute indicator not being a thing, which is very annoying, like turn the light off, something, anything. I don't really see major flaws with this unit. And If they watch my review of the ZP3, which was the preamp one, which had the digital volume knob that spun and spun and spun, had a detent, but you couldn't tell where it was going because it just spun. If they integrated this sort of knob into the ZP4, the next one, I would have much less to complain about because I can look. See, I can look, and I know the volume is 11:30, and I adjust the volume, and now the volume is 10 o'clock. Granted, it's there and not way the fuck over there, but I wouldn't worry about way the fuck over there unless it had digital inputs because that's what you're going to have from your TV down. I actually just had a product. I don't know if I'll find it to link it in the description, but it was unique, and I don't have one of these, and I'm like, I need that for $20. It was an HDMI ARC return cable, so you plug it into your TV's ARC HDMI, and the other end of it was 2 RCAs and a USB plug for power. So you plug it into the service port on your TV, you plug the HDMI into your ARC, then you have 2 RCAs. Just 2 RCAs, just chilling, probably on the shittiest DAC on planet Earth. But that shitty DAC on planet Earth goes right into the BT20a Max, which is a mouthful, and then you're watching TV using this to control it, and it's integrating a sub super fucking easy, and it's powerful, and it's clean. It's good enough for Zeos' home theater. The older models were good enough for Zeos' home theater, so this is the new. With the fan. I would love to test it out like super hard in a summer day. Like it's currently like 6 degrees outside. Fahrenheit, not Celsius. And it's going to be, tonight's the warm night. It's going to be 7 Fahrenheit. Tomorrow and the day after, the nighttime temperatures, not wind chill, it's going to be -8. So I've already got my fucking propane heaters on with the mini splits, which... Thank you all for supporting the channel on Patreon and Subscribestar. You helped pay my $1,100 electric bill last month. And it ain't going to be fucking cheaper this month. Oh, God. Anyway, thank you all for supporting the channel, either via buying collabs or supporting Princess Pasta with RI cables and other things up in Canada, or just Patreon and Subscribestar to see reviews early, participate in yard sales, and get to the Lost of Sound demos. Only 5 of those sound demos have come out. Then I hit like a wall again, but I'm getting on it. I'm out of IMs still. If you haven't checked out the In-Ear Fetish channel, I can't say the word fetish. It comes out fetish every time. If you haven't checked out the In-Ear Fetish channel, please check it out. Check out some of my older reviews. IMs don't go bad. They don't get like stale and run out. You can look at a 3-year-old video and probably still purchase that IM, despite the fact that modern IMs usually trounce even slightly older ones. It's wild. Anyway. If you have any suggestions for where I can get IMs in a hurry, because I'm buying them from Amazon now to try to just bolster the channel, it's like Hi-Fi Go and Linsol have just run out of new IMs. I think companies are actually backing out of the retailer space. They don't want to give that percentage over to them, and they're just going direct. So I'm being able to contact Tin, and Tin sends me things directly, and Hans Jim send me things directly. But that's just 2 companies, and I need to fill out 10 videos a month if I want to go back to my old schedule, which I liked my old schedule. I love IMs. They're easy and fast and expensive, and they sell in the yard sale, and you guys love them. So more IMs. But I can't plug them into this, so I wouldn't bother anyway. Yeah. So support the channel. Wallpaper we put up, that's just a screenshot of darkness. Because who the fuck doesn't want darkness? You got darkness in the wallpaper horde now. Best girl La Latina. And thank you to Fosi for sending this out and reminding me that, by the way, it needs to be done. I'm not going to say don't. So don't. Not do that. Do it. Do a tube preed to this thing. It's nutty.